Welcome back to LJTMTG. For today's video, we have Jeskai midrange versus Esper midrange. We haven't really done a true blue mirror for the channel yet, so let us know if you'd love to see two blue decks decide whether or not to surveil land to the top of their library.
Hello, welcome into my deck tech. This is my Esper mid-range deck that I'm going to be playing in the video today. Trent and I decided we wanted to play a blue mirror, a matchup with two blue mid-range decks. We've kind of been jamming a lot of like non-blue mid-range and combo decks on the channel, but we haven't really shown off what is probably the strongest archetype in the format, which is the blue mid-range decks. You can play them really like in a lot of ways. Jeskai is the most powerful and the one that has been doing the best, at least locally in Victoria, I know. But you can play like four color with no black. You can play four color with no green. There's like a variety of options available. And in addition to that, you can play a couple of different three color combinations. Jeskai is probably the strongest. Grixis is pretty good. And then I think Bug and Esper are also color combinations you can consider playing as well. So this is my Esper mid-range deck. This is something that I've played on the channel before, actually, in the Conquest Challenge, and it performed pretty well there. I've made some changes from then. Most notably, I added Time Walk to the deck, so I moved off of playing Moxen and into playing Time Walk. So this is a mid-range deck that is looking to leverage powerful threats early and is then either going to Time Walk your opponent out of the game or grind them out with really high premium removal. The other thing that this deck is playing that I'm pretty excited about is this is a Ketramos the New Dawn deck. This card is rampantly taking over the modern format. It's very powerful. I wouldn't be like totally astonished if it's a card that finds its way into the legacy format as well. The line of text where you are drawing cards very cheaply for taking game actions that you're more or less happy to take anyway is busted. This is not some mystery thing. This has kind of always been the case. So yeah, Ketramos is cool. I've been waiting for my moment where Ketramos is really going to like pop off and do something really sick, and hopefully that is going to be in this video. Other than that, none of this should be like all that surprising. It is some good counter spells, some good removal, and Path to Exile, which I'm not hugely fond of. I've got cantrips in the form of like Ponder, Preordain, Brainstorm. I've got Mental Note and Thought Scour as ways to fuel up my many delve cards. I'm playing more than usual because I want to really be able to leverage Ketramos as best as possible. It's got the best counter spells, so like Counterspell, Mana Leak, Remand, Lose Focus. I'm trying Permission Denied as a nod to combo decks. This is kind of a nice way to say I don't care whether or not this is a bait spell. I'm going to counter it and go to my turn. Thank you very much. I've got No More Lies, which is a nice high premium one. And then the thing that this deck is doing that's pretty different from the Jeskai decks is that this deck is leveraging some of the blue and black Hateberry cards, and the white ones even, Hateberry cards, as a way to give you more game into the combo decks. So I've got like Aven Mind Sensor, Opposition Agent, I have Hull Breacher, I have Aven Interrupter, to a lesser extent Shieldred. This card's just good, but it's cool here. I've got Grief in my deck even because it works well with Ketramos. It works well with Ephemerate. I figured I would try it here. So that's the thing that I'm doing differently. I've kind of got a nod to the fact that I think combo decks are quite good right now. That's probably not going to serve me very well in this mid-range battle, but I didn't want to make a bunch of changes to my deck just because I know that I'm playing against a Jeskai control or a Jeskai mid-range deck. Some sweet ones that I'm trying out that I'm fairly certain aren't right, but they're fun to play. I love Fallen Shinobi. I'm going to put this card in decks more or less whenever I can. This card's really sweet. Kaito, similarly, I'm unconvinced this card is amazing, but it's new enough that I still want to be trying it in a bunch of shells. And Planeswalkers are at a weaker point than they have been in Lander in the past, I think, but this one is pretty powerful, and getting to recur some of the threats in my deck is good. And then I've got Yuriko, the Tiger Shadow, which is definitely wrong. This card can't be right, but I like it a lot. I've got some good things to recur. And it is worth noting that like I do actually have secretly a kind of high a couple of really high CMC hits that can win the game out of nowhere. So I don't know. I put this card in the deck. It's probably going to come out of the deck after this video, to be completely honest. I don't think it's good enough, unfortunately, but I really like Yuriko. I think Yuriko is really cool. So yeah, this is Esper Time Walk mid range. It's got some Ketramos action going on, and I'm going to take on Trent. Trent is very good in the Blue Mirrors. He's probably the best player I know at playing these kind of blue mid range decks. Jared's very good at it as well. But it's yeah, Trent's an exceptionally good player, and to be honest, this is the type of deck that I struggle with the most. I find that I make a lot of like minor misplays throughout the course of games, where afterwards I can see them when the cause and effect is really obvious. I can see where I went wrong, but I'm trying to get better. So this is a good opportunity for me to learn and yeah, try out this sweet new deck.
Welcome to Jeskai Midrange. Enjoy your stay. Jeskai is a deck that is leveraging some of the best individual cards it can. It's pretty low synergy. There are some accidental synergies, but generally speaking, your card quality is just really high. So you're only playing the best of the best planeswalkers. You'll note Jace the Mind Sculptor is an omission here. It was included in the past, but recently 4 mana for a planeswalker at instant at sorcery speed has a pretty tall order. Comet sneaks in there because it's broken and it can win the game on its own, whereas Jace can is sort of less good at that than it used to be. And then your suite of threats are all just really powerful single threats or really flexible threats. So we have things like a Born Oculus Aragorn. You play Johnny just because it's so overwhelming in how much rate you're getting that it's worth playing, even though it isn't the best in this deck. It's still quite strong. Things like Flage, Murktide, Pyroglyph, they're all huge. You're obviously playing Ragavan and Tamio as your solid 1-drops. And then when you move into the spells, for sorceries, you've got a couple of pieces of card advantage, so Expressive Iteration, Merchant Scroll, Finding, Ancestral Recall. But then we've also got a couple of Wrath of God effects that are all pretty flexible. The reason we're playing Terminus is because we're playing Mystical Tutor, which we'll see down here in the instance. We're also playing Ancestral Recall and Dig Through Time, and those are our 10 points. For the instance, you're just playing the best of the best blue spells, the best of the best 1 mana red removal. We aren't playing any 2 mana red removal. Because you're a recall deck, you really want to be playing efficient answers to your opponent's threats, which means that you give up a little bit of flexibility in your overall removal package in favor of being really efficient. And then we're just playing the best counter spells. We aren't going too deep. We're not playing like Miscalculation or Deprive, etc. But we've got a decent suite of counter magic to protect us while we enable our game plan, which is just to play really powerful singular threats. And then our only enchantment is Dress Down, and our mana base is pretty standard. We're playing Library of Alexandria. We're playing a couple of Channel lands. We play all 3 of the Surveil lands because they're so good in this archetype. And then we're playing Mystic Sanctuary to get back our recall, or to get back the spicy Terminus that's already in our graveyard. Anyways, I don't think Jeskai needs much more of a deck tech than that. Most people are pretty familiar with it, but if you aren't, it's one of the best decks in the format. The deck is just really consistent, and in average draw games, Jeskai is really well set up. So in the games where your opponents don't have Moxen and don't have Mana Crypt, Jeskai is, I'd say generally speaking, a pretty decent favorite if it's any sort of mid-range or aggro type of matchup. Editing Trent here. You are going to see our mulligan decisions, and you're going to notice that I initially say that my hand is garbage and dirt and unplayable. And then subsequently, I decide to keep it anyways. This is just the kind of well thought out, balanced thought process that goes into playing blue recall decks. So you get a little bit of insight into the mind of the blue mage.
Okay, I get a definite to talk about
Yeah,
mulligans.
yeah. Liam's deafening, but I don't have to because this hand is bad.
Okay, so like I mentioned in the deck tech, Trent and I both know that we're playing like a blue mirror of some sort. So you get to keep hands knowing that. I'm guessing Trent's gonna play Jeskai. It's his favorite deck. He's won like 3 tournaments in the last 5 weeks, and he drew to not win the other 2 tournaments. Like he's undefeated in 5 events. So I do have to be a little bit aware of getting run over by something like a Ragavan. But I think this hand is probably fine. It establishes its mana well, and I don't think that I can necessarily look for um something that much better.
Uh, we're in a blue mid-range mirror, so this hand isn't the worst. It's not like super exciting either, but I go first, so I think I'm gonna keep. Get a surveil land, get a surveil land, bada bing, bada boom. You're chilling.
Hello.
Oh,
Ooh.
you know what? I was just like, oh, I'm obfuscating the cards that I have in my hand, I've never thought about this issue before, and I just realized the reason I haven't thought about it because I never have 7 cards in hand, so I never worry about the seventh card being obstructed by my camera.
I've been putting mine top right. That's been my solution, and I just
Interesting.
deal with the fact I the battlefield typically doesn't stretch that far in my experience. Surveilling,
Get it out of here.
yeah, never work in this
Island
town.
fake.
And I did tell people we knew we were playing a blue mirror, so I suspect both
Yeah,
of us kept
yeah.
hands and are making decisions like kind of with some amount of information, and I think that's fine. Like in a tournament setting, like other than round one, you typically kind of know what most of the people in the field are playing. Like maybe you don't know 100%, or if you're playing Jeskai, maybe you don't because none of your matches finish on time, so you're never able to walk around
Wow.
and scout.
Wow. That's so true.
I mean, I'm not saying that you never finish matches as Jeskai, but it
I
is,
mean,
it
if
is a
you look
deck
at
that can
this
draw.
last Monday, um,
Yeah,
you would assume correctly that I never finish matches on time. Blue mirrors, am I right?
blue mirrors. Yeah,
It's there's something nice about blue mirrors where you both know you're not just gonna die on turn 3.
yeah.
Like
There's a tranquility to the early turns.
I'd play my Triome tapped, I surveil a little bit, and
Yeah.
then the action starts around turn 4, or maybe it doesn't ever start until someone starts missing land drops.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends too exactly how the decks are constructed. Like obviously some decks are gonna have like more flash threats or things like that, right? And so you're gonna end up with slightly different textures to games. Like here I have a flash threat to kind of like kick things off in a way where I get to at least put you to the test on whether you want to spend mana going into my turn.
The old interrupt error.
Yeah, I like in a perfect world would have used that to tag a spell, but I think the texture of these games is that pressure actually secretly matters a little bit. Like if you just play a game where you both play all your spells and or play land go for a really long time, like uh eventually I feel like the Jeskai deck is pretty favored. Just it has see like it has stuff like this.
Also, the
Um
small incremental damage ends up mattering quite a lot,
yeah.
especially from Jeskai's perspective, because you like you do have Bolt, Snapcaster Bolt, that type of stuff, or like Flage, things
Or
that
like some builds have like fourth Earlingus where like you can just like 10 people out of nowhere. Like
yeah.
I suspect you are not because I think you're on recall, but
I am on recall. So I could just play the Wandering Emperor again. Uh, but if I do that, then I give you free license next turn to play whatever you want. Is that like such a terrible thing? Uh, let's play Flage instead.
Ooh. Flage. Okay, so you didn't want to tap out completely, so you left one blue mana up. Oh, okay, you're gonna play a thing. Okay,
Yeah, I
this makes
think
sense.
there's like a argument to just playing Wandering Emperor, but I like Flage into Ragavan because it represents that I could like next turn potentially Flage as well. But
Mm-hmm.
Ragavan's still pretty threatening, and you can't necessarily like you're not necessarily happy to answer Ragavan with just a blocker, but
Yep. Yeah.
whereas if I play Wandering Emperor, you can just slam like a creature that is really good, and if I don't have the like requisite way to remove it, or if it like gives you the initiative or something like that, then I'm like pretty far behind.
Yeah, like
I guess I,
the situation can begin to devolve.
yeah, I guess I have dash Ragavan there, but it isn't perfect. Like there are situations where you play an initiative creature and then you solitude my Ragavan, and then I just lose the game on the spot because I
Yeah,
never gain initiative back.
yeah, it becomes like just kind of a nightmare.
And like you might not be
Uh,
playing initiative, I don't know, right? So like those are considerations I have to make, even though I know you're on a blue deck, right? Like I don't actually know what you're
yeah.
playing exactly, so
Okay. Sorry, us talking was good because it gave me time to go, like tank,
figure out your
kill your
blood sheep
Ragavan.
first life.
Yeah,
tank, kill Ragavan.
yeah. I had more than one way to deal with Ragavan, let's just say, and I was trying to work out what the best line was.
I think I'm just gonna pass.
Yeah, fair enough. You don't want to escape Flage and into a counterspell.
It seems kind of bad.
I
Even mindset, sir. This guy's cooking.
yeah, I didn't make changes to my deck like with the fact that we were playing a blue mirror in mind. So like I probably wouldn't put this card in my deck necessarily if I
Oh
was
yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm guaranteed to be playing a blue matchup. But like I like it. I think having these like one of the draws for me to playing Esper over Jeskai is you have these hate bears. And I think that a lot of the time they can help you in some of the combo matchups that the blue mid range decks can struggle into. Ooh, flash threat of your
Yeah,
own, eh? Oh yeah, I knew about this one.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
the combo killers are particularly enticing
mm,
because like it's not just that you have an opposition agent, you have an oppo agent, plus you have like ways to deal with their removal spells potentially, right?
yeah, yes.
I'll get my
Oh,
free value.
yeah. I actually misplayed here. I don't think I was supposed to run out the thought scour necessarily. I wanted to hit a land drop. Like I think you don't want to be just stuck on 4 in these matchups. And I
Gotcha.
was gonna miss my land drop, so I just ran it out. But I don't know. Maybe it was wrong. It was probably wrong.
I don't know. Hitting your land drops can be really important in this matchup, depending on the context of your hand.
Yeah,
I think I'm supposed to reprieve this.
I think
I don't
so.
generally like reprieving card draw, but the fact that it's 3 mana and you missed your land drop, I think, is a little too enticing.
Yeah, you just have like a lot of information that insinuates that reprieving it is good.
Yeah, I find that in these matchups, like I'm almost never fighting over card draw ever.
Yeah,
Like I unless it's very clearly good. Like in the late game, if both of you have like engines going where you've drawn a bunch of cards, like there are a lot of moments where I don't even counterspell an Ancestral Recall because we're not at that stage of the game anymore.
yeah, it just
Like
doesn't matter.
obviously early I would,
Yeah,
but I've played games like Control Mirrors where like they've recalled like 4 times or something, but it just doesn't matter because at a certain point, like a bunch of your cards lose value because of how like variable the value of cards are in the matchup, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah. Like you get to a point where it just doesn't matter almost.
yeah,
If the person has
exactly.
3 extra cards because there's like 6 cards in their deck that matter still, and they're not that likely to draw more than one of them, so you'd rather just save the counterspell for the thing that actually you think matters.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see here. I guess I want to get rid of this one.
Ooh, Oculus, hey.
Oculus.
This one's nasty. Um, yeah, I just have to let this resolve, unfortunately. Yeah, that card. It's interesting how much the graveyards matter now in these blue decks. Like, they've always mattered. Delve cards have always existed. Snapcaster's always been a thing. And I feel like we used to have this notion of, like, you could tax your graveyard too much, almost, quote unquote, right? Like, you could end up in a situation where
Mm-hmm.
uh, you wouldn't be able to support the graveyard cards anymore. And it sort of feels like we've just, like, abandoned that notion. And,
Well, I
like,
think games have gotten tighter and more efficient, so you end up in situations where your graveyard is full earlier, like
mm,
naturally.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Whereas I think, say, 8 years ago, if you were trying to fill your graveyard naturally, you'd actually play against opponents that don't really allow you to do that, right? Like,
Yep.
um, I guess I want to manifest this one.
Oh man, in a recent video I manifested a fallen shinobi
Oh
off of
my okay. I was watching that and I was like, wow, some people really are born with it all.
Yeah. If
Manifesting a fallen shinobi is wild.
yeah, and Jared
It's
like said out
scary.
loud, he was like, "Well, I think I'm probably okay as long as you don't manifest something really disgusting." And then I flipped fallen shinobi into play.
Just like manifested the actual perfect.
Yep. Yep.
That's so good.
Um
Gotta memory lapse this thing.
yeah. I get it. I get it. Um I guess I do it this way. I would like for it to
Fused focus.
resolve.
It resolves.
Hooray.
I assume my Oculus is going back to my hand, but
Yes, you assume correct.
that seems right to me.
Casting it once
I
is possible. Casting it twice is usually somewhat challenging. And where you have the Flage in the graveyard as well, I really want to try and maximize the difficulty for
wow.
you.
I am the best at blue mirrors.
um,
So
yep,
good.
that's unfortunate.
I drew
Um,
recall.
yeah, I don't want to do this, but
Yeah, I
this is
mean
the
you have
spot where,
to.
yeah, I have to counter it. Also, the Force of Negation doesn't actually counter the threats that I know you have anyway. Like, it sucks
Yeah,
having to pitch Subtlety, because Subtlety lines up really well into Flage and Oculus.
definitely.
But it is the texture of my hand.
I could have waited until your turn, but I'm getting a 3-for-1 or a 2-for-1 regardless.
Yeah.
Unless
It's
you have counterspell in hand, in which case I am not super happy. Uh, I guess I just pass. I still feel
really.
pretty far ahead.
Yeah, I think you're pretty far ahead.
I think
Well,
planeswalkers are underrated.
I thought you were pretty far ahead, and now I'm less
And then you
sure.
drew your own recall.
I'm not playing it, but
Ah,
give me a second. I'm gonna deafen and talk about my line here. Um, or actually, no, I guess I won't. I'll just talk about it out loud. So the issue, I have multiple threats that I can play, and it's a question of if you have one counterspell, what is the one that I'm okay with getting
oh,
counterspelled?
like what do you lead? What do you lead with?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So I think
Gotcha.
what I'm gonna do is lead on this one and see where we end up. Eh?
That one.
This
Who
one.
cares?
Okay, perfect.
White plume.
More like Night Plume.
Sad. More like sad plume.
Yeah.
So you
So
are playing the initiative. Ooh.
I am, yeah. I think I like the initiative cards a fair amount. Um,
No one's arguing they aren't strong. That's for sure.
yeah. Okay, and then the question is, what's the best follow up here?
Yeah.
Okay, I have. Fortunately, this gave me time to think about my play, so it's good. So I have this one.
Ah.
Yes. And my read is that you don't have a counterspell because you would have fought over the recall if you had a counterspell.
Would I have?
I think so. I mean, I don't know, maybe you wouldn't have. And the nice thing about this is this maximizes my ability to defend the
Initiative, yeah, because
the
you have 3
initiative.
threats.
Exactly. Especially in the face of unknown Flage in the graveyard. So I figured this was the strongest line, but yeah, so there's one. I will not pay to redirect, sadly.
Interestingly,
If you have 3 removal spells here, it's really bad for me, but
instant creature land. So the interesting thing is I'm actually missing out on taking the initiative here because I don't have the Flage mana.
yeah.
Which is a Mystic Sanctuary special, but I do get to kill your thing. And play my Abhorrent Oculus if I want. Which I do want. Okay, the question is, do I uptick? Or do I just attack you and trade manifests and then create
make another one, yeah.
A Vigilant Soldier. I guess that's technically more power.
More power, but less bodies.
Actually, yeah, you have to block. There's no way you can't block. Because if you don't block, then I can just play Flage. So, do I...
Assuming you have basic mountain in your deck, which I guess you must.
Yeah, I definitely do. Wait, no, it's not in my deck. It's in my graveyard.
Yeah.
What the
I was
hell?
wondering when you were going to notice.
What the hell? He doesn't have to block? Well, actually, you do have to block.
No,
because you
I
can't
have to
give me
block.
the
I can't give you the initiative. Yeah,
I think I want these to trade because I want to cast my Oculus without getting rid of my
exiling
Flage.
your Flage.
Yeah,
100%.
That's definitely where we're at.
I was like, is he gonna notice? When is he gonna notice?
I don't look at my graveyard. I only look forward. I don't look backwards.
Yeah.
Unless I'm recalling my ancestral home.
Okay,
then I look backwards.
Very fair, very fair. Man, the fact this thing triggers on my upkeep is just like so crazy.
Yeah, this card is wild.
It's really pushed, yeah.
I think I'm supposed to do this. No, this, I guess. What you take with Manifest actually matters too, because if someone bounces your Manifest, or if you have a way to bounce your Manifest,
yeah,
you can get that spell back.
I think I'm just gonna go for Into the Lost Well here. Like, forging is sometimes, like, getting to go to trap is exciting, but I don't think this is one of those games where
I think we're almost always like Lost Welling, even if we have like board presence. It's probably better to scry 2 in most scenarios.
I think so, yeah. Ooh. Well, that's very exciting. Yep. Okay. I'll cast this one.
Oh. Am I dead?
I mean, I don't know that you're dead, but it's very good here, I think. I do have to be careful about my life total.
Oh, Skyclave's pretty good.
Yeah. Skyclave, your Oculus, draw a card.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
And there are definitely enough cards in exile.
There are, yes. Either one of us is fortunately enabling it on its own. And if you want to, like, Flage me, I think I draw a card, or is it only on my turn? That's only on my turn, okay.
Yeah, that was a big swing, though. I also can't Flage you, because I just don't have enough cards in the graveyard.
Yeah, no, I know, but if you, like, drew, like, Thought Scour or something.
Oh, sure, yeah. Well, I guess I'm going to Brain Surge my own.
Yep, sounds good. This is the first time I've gotten a Ketramos trigger after playing this deck a bunch of times now. I had a game where I went turn 1 Deathrite Shaman, turn 2 Ketramos, and it was poised to like draw at least one card for the rest of the game, but it got balanced away. One of the few ways it can die.
Oh yeah, balanced away.
Yeah.
I think I'm supposed to get rid of these two.
Unfortunately for me, you've churned through most of your red removal and none of your white removal. So like the Ketramos is definitely
It's not like
not.
the most stable.
Yeah, yeah. Like it's not just like never dying. It also like because of the Wandering Emperor is a little bit awkward, but it looks like it's surviving this turn at least, which is good because it's good at blocking Wandering Emperor creatures.
Yeah, I can't. I'm not attacking through this anytime soon. That's for sure. It's nice though, like because you can't really attack with yours. Because if you do, then I can just chump block and Wandering Emperor it away.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you draw a card if I exile this?
On my turn, yes. Oh, does it see
Oh,
itself get exiled? That's a good question. I
yeah.
actually don't know.
I guess we'll find out if and when I do
If
exile
it
it.
comes up,
So
yeah.
we'll see.
Um,
Yeah, and like you not being able to attack is really critical because you're at 9, and so you really want to be able to attack if you could.
Fortunately,
Shieldred.
yeah. I'm hoping to not be at 9 for that much longer. Uh, yeah, I'm just gonna pass. I don't think I agree with you. I don't think I'm allowed to attack yet.
I don't think you really want to trade
I also think this is like
in that
poised
way.
to potentially just take over the game as a value engine now that I like if I get Shieldred plus Petramos going, and I'm also like currently on pace to Throne of the Dead 3U like sooner rather than later.
I guess I don't have Elegant Parlor because I milled it.
It's in exile.
Milling Mountain and Elegant Parlor. Huh?
Yeah.
I am gonna get the initiative here, which is like not nothing.
Are you?
Well, I have a flyer.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I guess it depends on if I get mucked or not. This is interesting. I think I am upticking. I think I need taller creatures.
Yeah.
Is my
Gotta go big.
and I need to hope that this DRC connects.
It is not.
You hate to see it.
And I'm only paying 2 for the price too.
Interesting. It actually is connecting.
Oh, you have a stifle?
Yeah. Wow, that's wild. Oh, permission denied. What is this?
It's negate
It's
silence.
wait, negate silence?
It's not silence. You can cast creatures, but you can't cast non-creatures.
Okay,
It would be
gotcha.
busted in this spot if it was no creatures. Keep the DRC off the table entirely.
Yeah, I get to replay the DRC, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, you have no cards in hand, and what
0.
stage of the initiative you're on? You're just gonna make a 4/1.
I'm on make a 4/1. Yeah.
Okay, sure. You got me. I got the surveil trigger.
Yeah. I am getting flaged here, which is not ideal, but
you are getting flaged.
Yeah, you're gonna get to flage me and make a 3/3 if you want to. I imagine that's what you're doing. Maybe you're going to my dome. I'm not sure. I guess it depends on what the rest of your hand is.
I'm definitely not going to your dome. You have
You're
shield.
killing the Skyclave. Yeah, fair enough. You're killing the Skyclave, I guess.
Yeah. I think I have to kill the Skyclave.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. Okay, so you get a 3/3.
I can't believe I cast a Born Oculus and Flage twice and Flage this game.
Yeah, you've
without casting a
of
Thought Scour or anything either. This game has been really interactive.
Blue mirrors, right?
Okay, we're gonna find out. I think I do this one. I think Shieldred's fake in this spot. I don't think it matters as much.
Oh my god, you're playing an unplayable card. That's so tilting.
What? Path is great in this deck.
No,
specifically in this deck, it's really good.
I think Path is so fake.
Oh, Path is the nuts in Jeskai. You just like almost never care about the mana that they get. I guess I should have pathed on my turn in case he drew a counterspell here.
Yeah.
I'll keep this one.
All right, you got it. Oh, it does see itself.
You do draw a card. Wow.
That's cool.
Wait, which means you gain a life.
Yep. Aha! To 12.
I'm ruined.
My elaborate plan. Um. Okay. Um. That's interesting. So I'm gonna start with one of these.
That's a good one. Gain a bunch of life.
Yeah. Okay, that's an interesting one. Um. I gotta find a way to deal with this flage. That's priority number one for sure. But
This samurai's getting in soon.
yeah,
The samurai's coming for you.
yeah.
Vigi samurai.
The 6/6 that lightning helixes me is the one I'm more worried about currently. I think.
I'm just saying, I've got 2 blades.
Yeah,
One of them is definitely sharper.
yeah. Okay, so now we'll go for a ponder here. These would have been exciting at other times, but in this spot they are not. I will shuffle. Gain another life. I'm up to 20. Um, okay, well, I don't love my spot, to be honest. Flage is such a big.
Emperor.
Yeah, Emperor's pretty sweet here. Imagine if the Ketramos was still alive. Um, so I'm going to have to Emperor the Skyclave, I think, and just Skyclave your Flage. Think it's my winning line, but the thing that's unfortunate is like
Have you considered getting WPA?
that's the other thing I was gonna say. Yeah, the other option is get White Plume and Throne, but I don't think that I can Throne into
anything impactful.
anything that is good enough that it's not just gonna be like a dog to your Flage.
That's fair.
Because I think Shieldred's about as big as I go. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna take the line that maximizes my ability to not die to Shieldred, to not die to Flage, I should say. Sorry. It just sucks because it's hard for me to envision how I get to take back the initiative now once you take it. But
I mean, if all things are equal.
oh, I should have done this on your turn probably in upkeep. So this was a blocker. If all things are
equal, my attacks aren't. Why are you here? I love you, Minnow, but you are a menace.
Minnow menace. I should have done this in your upkeep. I messed this up really badly.
Oh, you don't have to do it at any time. That's right.
Yeah.
I always think of Emperor Phones as having to do it when
as being a timing restriction card, but it's not. I could have done it upkeep to have an extra blocker, and this gives you +1 3/3 as well. Oof.
Well, let's just say you just did it in upkeep. Because I don't think it matters anyways. And that's more interesting to me.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I love you, but I need you to... Okay, hold on 1 second.
You have kitten aggro?
Okay, I'm back. I'm putting this one on the bottom.
This DRC has gotten you like so much value.
I don't like DRC in a lot of decks, but it actually works out pretty well in this archetype.
Yeah.
I guess I'm bouncing Shieldred.
You don't have to play as though I timed this properly, because it totally messes with the math, right? Like I would be +1 2/2 blocker here.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Fine, I'll just punish you. I'll just punish you.
Yeah, you can just kill me. I deserve it.
What do I do? I think I have to bounce Shieldred. It's just really mana efficient.
Yeah, bouncing Emperor doesn't seem like where you want to be.
That seems kind of bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, I am gonna take the initiative with the same thing you used to.
Oh yeah, nice.
Keep me from taking it. Now I just get to attack with these two, which is nice. Pretty happy to trade this Vigi Samurai for this Emperor if that's where you want to be.
I'm trying to decide if it's where I want to be. I have Reanimate in my deck, but I would probably just reanimate WPA if I hit Reanimate. It's not like necessarily better to reanimate the Emperor of Bones. I'm trying to decide how much my life total matters. I'm gonna be able to replay Shieldred here. I think I'm not blocking. I don't think there's a card in my deck that lets me get through for the initiative this turn. Like, I don't think there's a way that I can kill all 3 of your blockers, but I don't think that going to 12 versus trading is that
I guess
different.
Toxic Deluge would do it for you if that's in your deck.
It's not.
I see.
It also wouldn't, right? You would still have Vigilant Samurai token.
Oh my god, this token has vigilance.
It's huge. Yeah.
What the heck?
It's broken.
Yeah, it's just you don't ever see these samurais really come up.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the time, the Wandering Emperor is like exile a creature, uptick, they are forced to attack into it, kind of thing.
Yeah, 100%.
DRS.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Pretty good in this matchup, but not.
It's not perfect in this spot, but it's not the worst. It can keep my Darcy under control, which is like one of the best ways I have to like go up and over you.
It's good in the early game because it like really restricts the ability to like do Oculus stuff and Flage stuff, right? But I think I'm about to just get buried by the initiative. Unfortunately, I was the turn where you were able to kind of clear out like all of my threats in one go was just too good. Having the Unholy Heat, the fact that your Unholy Heat had Delirium after you like had cast Oculus twice as well, it's also like kind of incredible.
I've been graveyard managing very, very well and also very luckily. I mean, I think I'm just gonna uptick here because I can make 2 threats that you feel obligated to block.
Well, yeah, the Forge too means that you can create like a pretty wide board of threats too.
Usually I like scrying in this matchup though.
Oh, really? But where I'm at 12, the trap is pretty enticing too, right?
Yes,
like,
that's kind of where I'm at.
I'm just kind of dead to what's going on.
I'm trying to decide if I feel like attacking with everything is good. So because of trap, you're sort of obligated to block 6/6 and 5/5. I guess I can't attack with everything because if you block in such a way where you get to take back the initiative, then I don't get to trap you.
I'm going to 14 as well.
That's right.
Because of Shieldred.
Well, unless you have to block with Shieldred.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if I attack with everything, like let's see, you block 3/3 with Shieldred, chump block first striker, block 2/2, take 7. That's not enough. I'm just gonna send with my big idiots.
Is being at 9 better than having Deathrite Shaman in play? My Ketramos is in exile, which would have been one of the reasons to leave Deathrite Shaman in play.
Yeah, because it could give you a redraw if you draw Ketramos.
Think I just want extra turns. Well, you know what? Actually, that might have been wrong, but we'll see.
I think it's pretty tight spot regardless.
Yeah, no, I'm decidedly in
the sewer.
Yeah.
The Undercity sewer.
Let's go to the Meticulous Archive instead.
Oh, a nice family vacation getaway.
Yeah. Okay, well, get to surveil a brick to the graveyard.
It's like drawing a card.
It is like drawing a card. It's preordained at home for sure. So if I do that, and then I'm getting trapped down to 8, I can block that, and then I take 6. I guess I'm technically alive.
Oh.
Oh no, I'm
Uh,
not alive. I lie. You can uptick the Wandering Emperor and I die. All right, you got it.
because you go to 8 and then
You had 7 power.
6. Ah,
Yeah.
very, very close game. I thought I was winning, and then in that one turn where you played Ketramos and Skyclave, I immediately was like, oh, I'm losing now.
Yeah.
Like, that was actually a pretty big swing.
It was.
I
I mean,
think
if the Ketramos doesn't get pathed, then I think it's poised to basically just like take over the game. Like even if it doesn't trigger every turn, it's just like gonna trigger eventually. What happened eventually there, like where I drew some cards towards the end of that game, but I kind of started to run into one of the issues that this deck is going to have into the Jeskai mirrors, and it's kind of interesting. It I think kind of highlights an issue with the state of the metagame currently. So like my deck has some concessions to combo in it, but drawing those concessions to combo is bad in the mid-range matchups. So like
yeah,
in the late
like
game
you
turns
almost
there,
never tag your opponent's fetch land with your like Aven Mind Sensor or
or
whatever.
your
Like,
opposition
that
agent,
doesn't really come up that often.
Hull Breacher isn't very good. Like, just realistically, they can work around it. So, like, I had this situation where I'm like drawing cards and I'm brainstorming, and if my deck has like more bangers that are designed to be good in the mid range matchup, maybe I'm in good shape. But instead, I'm playing cards that are designed to help me in combo matchups, and it's this weird balance that's hard to strike. Like, you can
Mm-hmm.
play cards that make your combo matchup better, but that comes at the expense of the mid-range matchup, or you can just like jam as many mid-range cards as possible into your deck and have a chance into Jeskai specifically, but probably like fold to most, if not all, of the combo decks. It's a tricky balance for sure.
Yeah, and your combo threats have such variable value based on like which ones they are. Because even Mind Sensor and Opposition Agent, at least they have flash, right? But if you have other threats that aren't flash threats, like they come at a way bigger cost in this matchup specifically. Because
Yeah,
like even just representing that you could have something is a really big part of the dynamics between these two decks.
yeah,
Yeah, it's interesting. Like my deck is also more geared towards creatures because of YJ's metagame. So in
yeah,
this matchup, we both have kind of like these cards that are a little like less good, except like for me, even though I'm playing things like Terminus and Wrath of the Skies, etc., those are still okay late in the game, depending on like what's happening. Whereas like Aven Mind Sensor and Opposition Agent, their
they're
value
bad.
drops off so
Yeah,
steep.
they're
Um,
not good. Yeah,
yeah, which is pretty interesting. Because like I definitely am not happy to have Wrath of the Skies in my deck in this matchup, right? But I think I think I'm a little more happy than Aven Mind Sensor or Oppo Agent, like sort of on the balance. I think the strength of Jeskai is you you're not a complete dog to combo, but you've got everything else like covered pretty
yeah, your
solidly.
matchup against the rest of the field is favored, and then your matchup against combo is doable because you're just like a deck with counter spells and pressure. It's just like you're not
Hmm.
favored, I don't think, into most of the combo decks, but you're like maybe 45% instead of what a lot of the mid range decks end up being, which is like, you know, 35% or
Exactly.
40%, which is like, it doesn't sound like 5%, 10% doesn't sound like that much, but it is
It's a
basically
lot,
like
yeah.
in the scheme of Magic
Well,
games.
and they keep printing
Okay,
like new threats too. Like Abhorrent Oculist is like so unbelievably good against combo because it closes the gate so fast. Like having
yeah,
another Murktide variant is like brings the whole room together.
for sure. All right, I'm gonna deafen. We'll talk about some mulligans. Okay, tough one. I definitely played wrong there. It's worth noting, Trent is like definitely the best Magic player I know in terms of play skill. Like Trent is a very good player, and he's very good at these blue mirrors. So this is kind of a fun learning opportunity for me, and I'm definitely less skilled in these mirrors. So I'm trying to improve. Um, this hand's a little scary because it doesn't have a third land, and I think missing land drops in this matchup is bad. But I like Baleful Strix. I like Stifle on the play. I like Remand on the play. I'm gonna keep it.
Well, this This hand is so bad. It's it, oh, sorry, I can't. This is just unbelievably bad. It's amazing how bad this hand is. It's almost like a perfect, like if I was to pick 7 cards out of my deck that I would not want to start with in this matchup, it's like almost that. Sword Splashers is excellent. It's always really good, but Prending has pretty variable value based on like if Liam plays any threats at all. Like, yeah, it's wow. That hand was so bad. Okay, so I'm gonna deafen just in case Liam hops back in. So with hands like this and Jeskai, one landers where you have like a lot of interaction in the early game, I'm generally not that high on. But I am at 6, and when I consider like how this matchup plays out, I feel like Tamiyo is quite strong. I have a Ponder and a Remand. I think if this hand didn't have Remand, I might not consider it. But if I hit land 2 and we play like a normal match of Magic, if Liam plays something, I have the ability to Remand and potentially draw out of it. I think this is just stronger than going to 5. It's a little risky, but going to 5 in this matchup is really devastating. There's just like a lot of draws where you go to 5, where your opponent pushes through a threat, and then you just don't have the ability to answer it. Or if you answer it, you can't answer their second threat. Or if you answer it, you don't have a threat of your own, so they eventually just draw out of it and destroy you with card advantage. So I think I'm going to keep.
Hello.
Hello, sorry, I had to figure out whether or not I'm keeping a hand. I guess I didn't decide what I'm going to bottom. I think it's supposed to be this one.
You went to 6? Actually, if the game log closed, I should probably open it.
Yeah, I went to 6, and I think going to 5 in this matchup is a really tall order.
Yeah, I agree. You're just such a dog if you start the game down that many cards.
I'm such a dog, hey? Wow, I'm the best Magic player of all time.
You're gonna go land recall?
No. I kept this one. I didn't draw it. For what it's worth.
Yeah. That's fair. Okay. Get this meticulous archive. Put that one right on top.
Liam's not immediately malding about how broken Tamiyo is. I have a feeling that this Tamiyo is not long for this world.
No, I just don't think the Tamiyo's broken. I know a lot of people.
Baleful Strix.
Yeah, like I don't know. I just feel like you get to like play regular Magic against Tamiyo a lot of the time, and it's like just a manageable card.
Yeah, I don't think I'm in the camp of Tamiyo being too broken either.
Like if you kill my Baleful Strix, get to make an attack here and make a clue. I guess I'm unhappy about that, but it's not like the game is over. I don't know. Like clues cost mana to pop and stuff. Like I think people behave as though this just reads draw a card when it attacks, and like in this matchup it's really good, but I think in a lot of matchups you don't really have the luxury. Yeah, like in a lot of matchups
it doesn't end up working out.
This is your second card, right?
Yeah,
so Tamiyo will not be flipping. Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Unless I have a Taxian Probe, I suppose.
Well, I could respond to that one though. I just wanted to make sure the trigger wasn't going to go on the stack once this resolved.
I think I'm keeping. Let's do this. No.
Okay. Ooh. Like to see that. This is one of the reasons why being black, like having black cards in this matchup is good.
Like my dog.
Yeah, like for example,
my dog.
This card that actually probably should be pointed in this matchup.
In this matchup, this card is definitely points.
Needs to go to the sewer, and I get to learn.
Solitude me now.
Yeah, I get to know that I need to do this now, or else I'm not resolving it. But But
I guess we're on pretty even footing here. I'm up like 1 card, I think.
no, we're even, right? Because once you pop the clue, you'll be up a card.
Yes.
Because my Baleful
yeah.
Strix drew a card, so I 2-for-1'd you with the Baleful Strix. You 2-for-1'd me with the
Yeah.
Tamiyo. But we're basically even. Except your 2-for-1 cost extra mana.
Wait, didn't I 3-for-1 you with the Tamiyo? Because you 2-for-1 yourself to kill Tamiyo, and then I made a clue, right?
Yes, sorry. It'll be a 3-for-1 once you actually realize your gain.
Once I realize this clue.
Yeah. Huh. Weird. I think this one's good. I think I'm just gonna keep it. I don't know. Maybe that's wrong, but I think I like it.
So I'll draw my card.
I accept. Man, imagine if I Hull Breachered you there.
I thought about it, but I realized I wanted the card more than I cared about getting got.
Yeah, like it wasn't worth playing around.
No, I think like there are some moments where it would be worth playing around, and maybe that was one of those moments, but Deathrite Shaman.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
I'm planning to activate it 9 times.
It's honestly not the worst plan.
No, I'm like only half kidding when I say that.
Interesting.
Okay, you have 5 cards, and I know Memory Lapse and Remand are 2 of them. Oh man, running hot on the lands here.
So many lands. I did ponder 2 of them to the top. Needed to cast my dog.
Makes sense. Had to have that dog in you.
Got that dog in me. Interesting. This changes a lot. Nethergoyf. Too good. So I need to decide what I'm doing with this one. Nethergoyf will be a 4/5. I think I'm happy memory lapsing this.
Yep. I think I'm just like fine drawing it again. Nethergoyf is so it's astonishing to me that card is a is only a 1-drop. Like with the escape cost as well.
Oh sure, yeah. I think Nethergoyf's pretty underrated. I don't see it in as many lists as I would expect. But if I'm playing black, I'm really, really heavily considering Nethergoyf.
It's nice in these blue-black lists because it's such a cheap it's so cheap, right? Like it just like doesn't really cost that well, obviously it doesn't cost that much. Okay.
Can I have Divination?
I mean, you could have Divination, but this is instant speed Divination. It's a little better.
I've been considering trying Stock Up in Jeskai.
I could see Stock Up. Stock Up sounds pretty good to me.
Deep, like
yeah. I think I just have to let you have Divination. I am going to munch a card out of your yard so that I don't get Oculus if you draw into it. But I don't think I'm allowed to fight over that one.
Interesting.
I see. That's unfortunate. Well, I guess I'm supposed to fight over this.
Oculus, but
yeah, but when
now it's made it super awkward because I'm gonna get to recall and put it back on top.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. This is what happens when you play against Jeskai with recall, right?
Damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? Like.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep, pretty gross. Mystic Sanctuary also pretty gross.
I could see at some point like if you wanted to target Jeskai specifically, doing something about Mystic Sanctuary. Like
It's one of the cards that would genuinely target Jeskai more than other decks, which like would be good. Um,
and I don't think it's unreasonable to say like a land that you can fetch for that allows you access to your whole graveyard if you meet these like conditions that, if we're
are
being honest,
are
aren't that
relatively trivial.
restrictive.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and they're not like they're not nothing, especially when you're playing Flage nowadays and stuff. Like, it definitely costs to put 3 islands into play a lot of games, but
But I
like
think in the
it
matchups
is
where
not many.
mysticking a recall is important, it typically there are typically not the same matchups where you would like want to be escaping a Flage on turn 4.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
So like the opportunity cost is not it's real, but it's not that substantial. Well, this is really obvious, but I am just gonna pass. I'll attack you for 5. Maybe this will work. Eh? Have a big guy.
you do have a big guy.
Large Lurgoyf in your area.
So I guess I'm not contributing to the Lurgoyf if that happens anyways.
I see. I accept.
You accept, huh? Oh, something I can't remand.
Yes.
I guess I'll see if I hit my misstep.
Yeah, you can remand this one.
It's funny because I was actually planning on remanding the recall, but if I remand the recall, I just like can't cast it next turn anyways. Like,
Yeah.
because usually it's better to remand your own spell, right? Like in those sort of wars.
Yep. Definitely.
I really like this line from you. I think
I
you're
tapped
so
wrong,
down on cards,
unfortunately.
you just need to like try and kill me.
Yep.
I guess yeah, you want to be able to activate your death ray,
I
but
can't activate death right now, yeah. It's really bad. I was so excited to put Hall Breacher on the stack. I never
yeah, because
never thought about what it
uh,
would cost me. Yeah. Yeah, now's where the recalls just bury you. Like you just
yeah,
can't do anything. Yeah, I'm just gonna get all my stuff killed, and I should have eaten a land there, but we're kind of in garbage time here, I think. I also, to be honest, if we're talking about like points changes, to me I never understood why Merchant Scroll came off the list.
yeah. Merchant Scroll is pretty free in like a bunch of different places. Like it's obviously very good in Flash Hulk.
Yeah,
Um,
it just like doesn't do things that I think are very honest ever, and I don't know, it's a weird one to me. Yep. Um, yeah, like yeah, I get that it didn't see a lot of play at 1, and that, but I don't think the argument of it didn't see play at 1 is necessarily a reason for it to be 0, because like that's the biggest threshold is 1 and 0.
yeah.
So
Uh,
yeah.
guess I'll put this one, put that on the bottom. Yeah, I think like I think didn't they move recall up to 8 and then move Merchant Scroll down to 0? I think was the like feeling behind it.
Yeah.
But with Spellseeker going to 0, there might just be too high of influx of ways to actually get
Like recall, flash, like all these things, like they've just like slowly been coming off the list, and yeah, I don't know. I'm not certain that I think it's balanced. Especially if we're gonna point cards like Minx-Kimbu. I think that's sort of where I'm at, is like if you're gonna be pointing like Ren and 6 and Minx-Kimbu, then like we gotta do some stuff about the fair and unfair blue decks as well. Like what are we doing?
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. This is interesting. I think so I can get just like a counter spell here, or like
Yep.
swords to plowshares or whatever. But I could also get Snapcaster Mage for recall and like really just like recall 3
But
times in a game, you know?
right, just live the full Jeskai dream.
I could also get Solitude, which might be good. Like I give you a 2/2, but I get a Solitude with a Wandering Emperor upticking. But
Yeah,
I don't know. Giving
it's
you a
like a
2/2
way to
is
end the
kinda
game.
scary. Like I do need to like actually end this game based on the contents of my hand.
You also know, I guess, yeah, you can recall it your turn. I was gonna say, I have Hull Breacher still, so.
Yes, yeah. Um, Man, if only I had one more mana, I could invert polarity. Well, I could have tapped differently,
Yeah,
but
you would have had to tap pretty differently to be invert polaritying.
oh, you know what? I actually think Brazen Borrower is the get here, because like
Oh yeah, that's
you're not
fair.
that close to Oculusing, but it gives me a threat that I can actually like
Start attacking
start
with.
attacking with the Wandering Emperor upticks.
Hmm.
I found Waterlog Teachings to be really impressive. Like getting both either an instant or a card with flash has actually been really really relevant. Like finding Solitude is a big deal, I think.
I mean, Mystical Teachings was a card we played for a long time in Highlander. Like it eventually kind of like fell out of favor, but that was just like a reasonable thing to be doing for a long time. Having one that like losing the flashback in exchange for it actually being just a dual land seems good to me. I don't have it in my deck. I'm not playing Recall, and I think if you're not playing Recall, then it gets less exciting.
I agree. I think if you're not playing Recall, it's just four mana is too much. But like,
Yeah,
getting Recall into your game, like to be able to Mystic Sanctuary it, etc. Like that's pretty important.
Oh my god.
I've decided that I am aggro. I'm just gonna dome you and like try to win fast.
Yep, seems fair.
But yeah, really impressed with Waterlog Teachings. I don't have a lot of experience with mystical teachings or yeah, mystical teachings. Just like that kind of all of that happened before I started playing, you know? Like
Mm-hmm.
where it was really really powerful.
Mm.
But yeah, you can find like Dress Down and stuff too, which is really weird. Spellseeker.
It's too little too late, I think, but it's good here.
Reanimate.
Yeah.
Get your solitude back.
Yeah, just
I mean,
like
good.
try and get some value going. I don't know. I don't think the life
I mean,
total is
that
the plan
Pyroglyph is
anymore.
gonna deal 5 to you at some point, anyways. So.
Yeah, yeah,
And you gain life off your solitude.
yeah. And it's not a thing that you're very excited about, like bouncing if that's something that you're on. And I know that my life total is like I thought about getting reanimate for seasoned dungeoneer, but that seems losing. And I could just like seeker for like Swords of Plowshares or yeah, I guess it had to be swords there, but that doesn't really work. Like it doesn't advance my board state at all. So
Yeah,
God,
like you
these
still.
vigilance tokens are so
Dude,
broken.
samurai. I told you I brought 2 swords.
Yeah. Well, I have to chump block, fortunately. If only.
I mean,
If only I didn't
this,
need to
if
chump
you kill
block.
the samurai, like, and kill my wandering emperor, you might be back in it, like, legitimately.
Yeah, if I can just kill your 2 permanents with you having 4 cards and 8 mana or 9
I mean,
mana.
it's stranger things have happened.
I guess so. Yeah. I need to somehow get Minnow back into your room.
Oh my, yeah, you need the meteor. You need Minnow from Top Rope just to jump all over my computer cords. DC.
Yeah. I think this is a game, but I will keep playing just until you actually kill me. But I don't think I have any outs. Yeah, the turn that you drew, the merchant scroll was just like so backbreaking, and I had the stifle that turn too. So like, but I'm fully tapped out. So it's like the turn I'm fully tapped
I
out. We end up having this fight where your remand uh draws you into merchant scroll. It's like, yeah, okay, you got it. Yeah, pretty brutal. We were having an interesting game, and then I got.
until it wasn't. Yeah.
I mean, like, so to be fair, again, like these are the things that you are giving up by deciding to play something like Esper instead of Jeskai, right? Um, and so I'm on Time Walk instead of um,
Which makes
Recall.
sense based on like a lot of your considerations, like an extra turn with Ketramos or extra turns with the initiative. Plus, you get access to two more like one pointers if you want them versus recall, right? Like,
I
so
don't
I
think I
assume
would
you're
play
playing.
Recall and Esper anyway. I think you would maybe play some Moxen instead of Time Walk, because
Sure.
I think the reality is if you're gonna build a blue Recall deck, you should just build Jeskai. Unfortunately, like the reality is, I don't think any of the other color combinations can leverage Recall to the same level that Jeskai does. The black removal is just like not quite as good as the red removal. The black threats are doing different things than the red threats are, and like Flayage and stuff. So I think if you're playing the other blue mid range decks, like you really are incentivized to try and find different ways to play them. I don't know.
Yeah, like getting excuse me, your black threats are uh like bigger a lot of the
Hmm.
time, but they aren't as flexible. So you are more incentivized to play things like Time Walker, Moxen to like leverage having bigger things out earlier. Like
Yeah.
I'm thinking about Baraglyph and Netherglyph, whereas like Pyroglyph late is still really relevant, even if it doesn't
Yeah.
actually get into the red zone.
Yeah.
Um, and then things like Comet and Aragorn, Flage, Dreadhorde Arcanist, like all of those red threats have the ability to take over any regular game of Magic, whereas
Yeah.
like
At
your black threats
more or
don't.
less any time. Yeah.
Yeah, whereas your black threats aren't as flexible as that, but they are like better beat sticks. Like
They're
Baraglyph
better
is
early. Yeah.
like Baraglyph and Netherglyph are big. Like if I didn't have a an answer to your Netherglyph, like that thing could have just taken you all the way, right? Or you can
Yeah.
imagine worlds where you play an early Baraglyph and then you have counterspell backup plus a time walk or something, and like it's just you can't lose because your
Yeah. Yeah.
your your threat is so overwhelming.
Yeah.
Um,
100%.
Whereas Jeskai almost never gets into those situations. Like the only time you're ever really in that spot is if you like land an early Abhorrent Oculus or a turn 4 Flage
Yeah. Or like a
and you
really
get to
early
untap.
Murktide region or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I think you're right in that assessment where like even though you're only switching out red for black, like the nature of the threats that you're getting is just totally different. And so that means when you're making deck building considerations specifically around whether or not you want to include Ancestral Recall, you really need to like consider like what it is your actual game plan is going to be. And
Yeah.
I think with Esper, I'm sure you felt this. There's just like so many cards now that you really have to make very conscious decisions on what you're going to include in your deck.
Definitely. Yeah. I guess I should give an amendment to my statement of if you're going to play a blue mid range deck with it recall, you might as well just play Jeskai. I think that's almost true. I think Grixis might also be playable with recall. Um,
Hmm.
but even Grixis, I think, kind of suffers from the same problems, like uh, where you're not really like ending the game that quickly, or sorry, you're kind of incentivized to try and end the game, and like you do get access to like Psychic Frog, Bowmasters, Baraglyph, like these really premium threats, but uh, I don't know that that necessarily means that you're a better recall deck, if that makes sense. Like I think
Yeah.
because you're still gonna have removal that is more conditional.
I'd actually love to talk about that because I think the reason Path is good in Jeskai is also the reason that Jeskai is just really solid on average. Um, Jeskai is really good at playing from a mana deficient perspective. Um, like the way that Jeskai is built is such that you actually are very capable of beating mock straws. Some mock straws you obviously can't beat, but like I think when you look at mid range or control decks, Jeskai is one of the better archetypes to say beyond the draw against a mock straw because you have so many ones. And
Hmm.
I think Path to Exile like emulates that in a particular way. It's obviously
Yes,
not
it
good
kind of does
early.
put your opponent.
You're giving them a Mox, but your
Yeah,
deck is designed to beat Mox draws, right? So
yeah,
like a
yeah,
lot
yeah.
of the time, obviously early game it's terrible, and it's like Path to Exile is definitely not amazing, but I think in this deck it actually like uh fills a very particular role, especially since you aren't playing black removal. You actually do need like a certain subset of unconditional removal because like sometimes your
Yeah,
red,
things just say this just dies.
yeah, like your red removal sometimes just doesn't get there. Like you need to get rid of an abhorrent oculus now. Like
Yeah.
you would pay any amount of like mana to cast Path to
Well,
Exile
you
in a
look at
lot of
that
situations.
first game, right? Like that first game's a great example where if Path to Exile is another threat. Now, if it was Dismember, which is the card that I think you could sub in a lot of decks that were playing it, and you might be happier. Dismember still would have worked, but yeah, obviously, like none of your red removal would have been enough. The
Yeah,
other
exactly.
thing,
Like,
oh no,
sorry,
go
go ahead.
ahead. No, you go for it.
I was just gonna say like the only red removal that gets there is Unholy Heat, and like who knows if it's even turned on, right? Like,
Hmm. Yeah. Um. Yeah, I think I think this matchup is interesting. Like I said, like my deck is making several concessions to trying to beat combo decks and be better against combo than it is to trying to be like really good into the Jeskai matchups. But um I do think you still have game. I was gonna ask you, so in game two, I actually had Aven Interrupter's Solitude in my opener. Would you have just fired it off on the Tameo even though I had the Baleful Strix?
um, I played Tameo turn one, so you got to play Baleful Strix turn two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the sequencing was because I was on the play, so I went land, go, you went land, Tameo, and then I could have just immediately gone Solitude or
Oh,
Tameo,
I I don't think
and
you
then
immediately
played
Solitude, but it's interesting because I actually misplayed that. I'm supposed to attack and then cast my. Actually,
your
no.
removal spell.
I guess if I
No,
cast
you
if
are.
well, I lose
No,
to
I've
Force
opened
of
mana
Negation there if I do that. So I'm actually
or
supposed to.
days.
I think in response to the removal spell, maybe you're supposed to Solitude there because like even
Yeah,
Interrupter isn't like amazing. It's
just
fine, but
not a meaningful card, and you multi 5 or you multi 6.
well to six, yeah.
Uh,
So like getting me
yeah,
out of
so
it
like
is
denying the extra card is worth it. Like I have a card to play with.
yeah, and like that extra
Um,
card could matter. Like I had Waterlog Teachings in my hand when I the turn that I drew the Merchant Scroll, but like
yeah.
drawing Merchant Scroll allowed me to actually like get my recall back on top of my library, whereas Waterlogged wouldn't have. So like
Hmm.
it did actually end up mattering down the line. Not that
Yeah.
that means anything, but
It's not
yeah,
nothing
I
though. It
think
also would have. Yeah.
Aven
Yeah.
Interrupter is just like too medium. You know what I mean? Like in the matchup, it's
Yeah.
obviously very good against counter spells, but I
Yeah.
think
That's
that
where
that's
well, even against counterspells, it's like they still get to recast them eventually if they want to.
yeah, and like you don't even know if the Aven Interrupter is going to be in a situation where you're able to cast it like in a counterspell fight. You know what I mean? Like,
It costs 3. Yeah, it's true. It's
mm-hmm.
one that like might get the axe in this deck. To be honest,
I
I could
mean, it
definitely
is
see.
really good against combo.
It's good
Like,
against combo, and you're right. It is good against counterspells, I guess, because it plots them so they're sorcery speed only. And like I have like Ephemerate in this deck as well. Like there's a little bit of like a flicker sub theme,
yeah.
just because it's I have exactly Ephemerate. I've seen people playing like Hetromos with like a ton of flickers, and I think that that's probably a bridge too far. But
Oh, like
I have a
Essence
couple of
Flux and
things.
stuff. Like they're just going all
Yeah,
in.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But it's like you don't know that you're gonna draw the Hetromos.
Yeah. I mean, like you
Um,
hope that you do because it's cool.
Yeah,
But
yeah, it was sweet in the game that I had it. It looked good.
oh
If
my
it
god,
lives there,
Ketcharos into
it takes over the
Skyclave is
game.
actually broken. Like that was
Yeah.
really good. I'm surprised that I got out of that game because I legitimately thought I was losing as soon as that happened. But you know,
Hmm.
we got there.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, thanks for the games. This is hopefully a good. We've been playing a lot. I noticed that we've been playing a lot of like non-blue mid range and like combo decks. And I feel like it's good to have a wide representation. And obviously, like you're much better at these matchups than I am, so I was fairly sure I was going to lose, if I'm being totally
I
honest.
mean, I have
But
been running hot with Jeskai. I think
You are just like also like a very good Jeskai player. I think you're being modest.
Oh yeah. I think it's really interesting to like see the types of hands that you can keep too in blue matchups. Like we
Hmm.
often talk about the format in terms of how fast it is, but when you are playing in these slower matchups, you do get like this leniency that you don't really feel uh in other like matches. So like in game
Yeah.
one, we both kept hands that were kind of like really
Slow.
slow, and you
Yeah.
can't really do that in most Highlander games. Like there's just not
Yeah.
enough time to do things like that. So it's pretty interesting to see like what shifts once you know what you're playing against. And
Yeah.
I think the games that we played were actually relatively interactive and pretty interesting for the most part. So like
Totally.
I
I
do
mean,
actually like these matchups, even if like people are sick of seeing Jeskai or whatever, which is fair. The
the channel's not going to be only Jeskai, all
well, I
Jeskai, all the
mean,
time.
we'll have to talk plans because that's kind of what I was thinking.
Oh, you're just gonna cue it into everything. It's fine. I'll just start playing Flash Hulk into or
um,
something like that.
I guess the people will have seen this video before this is up, but at the end of the one of our recent videos where Jared and I talked about our power rankings, I'm pretty sure I just say recall to 7 and then we like end the video or it's close. It's
I
close
did.
to.
Yeah, I have
So,
actually edited it already,
so
and
maybe I'll
it's there's like maybe 8 seconds more video after Recall to 7.
maybe in the comments let me know. Do you think Ancestral Recall should go down to 7 points? I look forward to hearing everyone's responses in a very measured way.
Yes.
Anyways, thanks for tuning in, everyone. If you like the content, please leave us a like, comment down below what you enjoyed. If you like this format that we're doing, etc., we love to hear from you, and we try our best to respond to everyone. And if you want to see more of what we've got going on, hit the subscribe button. We have videos out currently every Monday and Thursday, and sometimes we might pepper in a little bonus content.
Some extra sauce.
Yeah, some extra sauce. But yeah, if you like Highlander, if you like deck challenges and seeing people play blue mid range mirrors, then come hang out.